So, in what I believe is chapter 8 of Misty Runs and Runs and Runs, where we left off was after the crash scene, if you will. Fancy recovered fine. Kudos to Cindy, who'd been working so hard with her over the previous months, and a loving bond had been created. The old mare was in fantastic shape. So now, like a month or more has gone by, and poor young Daver, I mean, his dreams have perished, right? Because he's not riding around the countryside with us, myself and the girls, as he'd envisioned. He's relegated to being led around in a circle by myself or one of the girls, because we don't know when Misty's brain's going to come unhooked. And, while we're training him to ride the horse, at 10 years old, he can't be irresponsible to be doing anything other than what we'd been doing. So Dave and his father had pretty well, their visits had slowed to an almost complete standstill. I wonder if Mike wasn't wondering if he hadn't, bought hockey gear and put young Daver in the league or something, right, with the money. Which we kids speculated was probably a pretty penny, because Misty was really a gorgeous pony, and her show quality gear, and where Mike had gotten her from without my dad's consultation, I don't know quite how that would have worked. But anyways, Misty has recovered, I've recovered, and I'd sworn I was going to conquer this beast. So, ascertaining Misty's legs up for it, I'm game to go. I'm riding around the back side of the small green barn, and it's early on a Sunday morning, so I'm thinking the girls aren't going to be around to witness what I have in mind. But out pops Lori. I don't know what she was doing there quite so early. And she said, "What are you doing? Why would you be riding around the back side of the little green barn? Because that field is not anything we ever rode in, just for the terrain of the field. I needn't go into any more detail there." So I lined Misty up, I don't know, 30 feet back from the barn, aimed at the barn, and Lori's leaned up against the fence post at the gate, looking quizzically at me, and I give Misty her head and a bit of heel, and she charges face first into the barn. This was my objective. Lori's like, "What are you doing?" Well, now Misty's gone full tilt pinball, whatever happens in her head when this business goes on. She's spinning, trying to run out into the rough field. I'm turning her, spinning her back at the barn, and with each spin and turn, I'm getting further away from the barn. She's building up more speed as she crashes into the barn. I'm just turning her and letting her broadside into the barn, lifting my inside leg. Lori starts freaking right out, right? She's like some demented soccer goalie in front of the barn, and like, "You're going to stop the pony?" I'm lashing at her with my reins on the way by. She's cursing me, I'm cursing her. Get out of the way. She's still trying to be some kind of soccer goalie, and I'm crashing the pony against the barn. And at one point in time, the Misty bounces off the barn and stumbles out. We had salt blocks put on. Somebody pounded stakes into the ground about 2 feet high for the salt blocks. There wasn't a salt block on one of them, and it was a near disaster. I envisioned Misty's, the inside of her rear legs, the veins, being torn. Note to self, got to change that system. Nothing, we didn't get tangled with the stake. Misty heads, I had her at the barn again. Lori's still demented soccer player. We turn, hit the corner of the barn. Misty shoulders right into the corner of the barn, goes reeling out into the rough field. It has the hummocks and hollows. Lori's in pursuit, screaming at me. She's going to come off her feet. She's going to come off her feet. Yeah, well, that's the objective. I'm cursing back. And as Misty spins one way and kind of reels into one of the hollows, I viciously reined her the other way, and sure enough, poof, she flops over, and I just settle down on her neck so she can't get up. Lori's freaking out. "What are you doing? You're going to kill her." I'm enraged. Raged by the horse and raged by Lori. I grabbed Lori and plunk her down on the horse's neck. I said, here, you hold her here. I'm going to go get the bull whip and flail the hide right off her. I'm going to kill her. Lori's like, you can't kill her. You can't. What do you... And she actually breaks out in tears. I never saw her cry before or since. I'm standing there kind of like, whoa. And I said, well, why can't I kill her? She's going to kill somebody. What use is she? She's ruined. Had a lot of expletives in this conversation, if you can call it that. Lori's final line of defense, you can't kill her. She's not your horse. That kind of, my jets were cooling a little. I said, fine, you deal with her. You cool her off. You deal with it. I go up to the house. I get a ginger ale. I'm sitting there having a smoke in the shade in the yard. I don't know, 45 minutes later or something, Lori comes up. And I notice she sits like 2 chairs away from me, right? And she's like, what? Misty's a mess. I said, well, I'm sure she is after bouncing off that barn. Yeah. She's going, well, what would Mike think if he came up and saw this? I said, Mike's taking Dave on vacation for 2 weeks. They went up to somebody's cottage, and I have carte blanche to do whatever I feel necessary. And desperate measures, desperate times. Desperate times, different measures. Whatever, Lord. This is, you know. She's like, so you had all that planned? I said, well, yeah. What do you think I took her behind the barn and ran her into the barn without thinking about it? Yeah, I had it planned. And let me tell you what else I got planned. So I laid out what I got planned for Misty for the week. Lori's looking at me aghast. She's like, that could kill her on any given day. I mean, and you're going to exacerbate the program as you, like, once a day and then twice a day and then 3 times a day and then 4 times a day. Could that not kill her? It might. Yeah. But what's to be done? You know, Mike's not going to take her to an auction and sell her unscrupulously to somebody who could get killed. I mean, I've got carte blanche to do what I want with this horse, and I'm going to do it. Will you help me? She thinks about it for a while. She goes, no, I don't have the stomach for it. I don't have it in me. I said, well, I could really use the help, Lori. She's, no, I'm sorry, Scott. I don't think I can really witness it, yet alone be party to it. I said, well, then can you keep Rhonda and Cindy in particular distracted? Because Cindy will just be, she's not going to get her head around what I got planned, right? Lori thinks about it. She says, yeah, okay, I'll plan a bunch of off-farm excursions. When do you start? I said, well, I'm going to start tomorrow morning. It's Monday. And on Tuesday, I'm going to do it morning and afternoon. And on Wednesday, I'm going to do it morning, noon, and night. You know, Thursday, 4 times. Do you think you can lay out a schedule to keep the girls riding down to the park, out to the sand dunes, out to Limehouse, wherever you're going to go? Yeah, I think I can manage that. And she's looking at me. She's like, you could break your own neck, yet alone the horses, you know. I said, well, yeah, I know, but I don't, at this point, we are desperate, right? Lori's like, okay. So in the next chapter, I'll pick up what happens on Monday morning.